too. Oh yeah. Streaming. Stream City. Stream City. How about y'all doing? I hope you're doing all right. Going live every single day of 2026. So make sure you like, subscribe, turn on those notifications, and become a member of the page if you want. We got a good one for you today, like every single day. Yeah, and NAB is coming up. We're going to NAB soon, so if you're excited to see that, let me know. Yo, Barry, how you doing, my brother? Good to see ya. Good to see ya. Good to see ya. What's new? What's new? We missed you yesterday, man. We saw you for a little bit, and then you started crying when you left. Everyone's like, where's Barry? We need Barry. Yeah, bro, we're going to cover that today. That's so wild. I can't believe that, man. Those people. What are they trying to do with Nick Shirley? That's what I'm curious about. They're just like, yeah, go ahead. Commit some fraud, man. Nobody cares. No worries, bro. No worries. That's life, dude. Get the ups, get the downs. So what's going on with our beloved POTUS, President Donald Trump? Let's see. Check. So those other headphones I had were Sennheiser, no, Bose, quality comfort 3s, 2s. And I got these in-ear monitors. I'm going to try them out, see how they are. Yeah, bro, these politicians, I have no idea what's going on, man. Like, are they here to serve, or are they here to just make life a little bit more difficult? It's not really that cool at all, man. But that's what they do, man, unfortunately.
Hold on, let's listen in here.
Because the tax bill was so good, the refund was the biggest thing you've ever had. Is that what you're saying? Is that surprising to you, actually?
It was very surprising. Very
It's a
surprising.
great big beautiful bill. And that doesn't include overtime in your case. This is only just based on what we did in terms of every other aspect of the tax bill, right?
Yes, sir.
So it was 11,000 saving.
Yes, sir.
Isn't that incredible? And that's what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. He did get that blockade in place, you know, which is kind of a good thing, I would say, because now everyone's purchasing oil from USA. Robert Alegria, thank you for joining in on the chat and saying blockade is real good for gas prices. Dumise. Thank you, man. Thank you for joining in the chat. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. We're going live every day of 2026, and become a member if you want. Hoppington said this was so fake. Captain Blackbird says he did not block the strait. Yeah, good point, Robert. I don't know, man. What do you think? Do you think he actually does care for the voters? I would hope he does, but I can't really say for sure, man.
It's the tax cut. It's really, you know, we call it the great big beautiful bill. We should call it the great big beautiful tax cut bill because it's tremendous amounts.
Huge Royal Coins channel. Thank you for joining in on the chat. Says, you know, I had a dream that gas stopped completely forever. It was because of the volcanoes erupting. Man, what a dream. What a dream. How do we all get around?
Of money, and that's overtime. That's also on Social Security, as you know.
Yes.
And
Alfred made a statement, but I can't read that one, buddy. Thank you for joining in on the chat.
it's pretty amazing.
Yes, it
Well,
is.
you're really nice. Would you like to do a little news conference with me with these people? These are not the nicest people. They're not nice like you. You know that, right?
I'll do whatever you ask me to do, sir.
So the no tax on tips is something special, right?
It's very special.
And that's one that really pertains to you more than anything else.
Yes, sir.
It's
Yes.
fantastic. It's such an honor to meet you. And I think you voted for me, do you think?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I heard you're a great supporter. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'll put this over here. And why don't we have a news conference with the president?
Okay.
Want to do it?
Sure.
You don't have to say too much. I think they're looking about Hormuz Strait and various other things. Do you have any questions?
Mr. President, did you post that picture of your
We got HG Buddy joining on the chat saying staged BS. It could be, man. It could be like a little DoorDash marketing advertisement. But also, he's talking about that no tax for those people. Brother's gonna call himself a doctor in 1 minute. Yeah. Thank you, Captain Blackbird.
yourself depicted as Jesus Christ? And
Well, it wasn't depicted. It was me. I did post it, and I thought it was me as a doctor, and had to do with Red Cross as a Red Cross worker there, which we support. And only the fake news could come up with that one. So I just heard about it, and I said, "How did they come up with that?" It's supposed to be me as a doctor making people better, and I do make people better. I make people a lot better. As an example, the 11,000. I understand your husband's going through treatment.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He's
He
going
has
through
cancer.
some very serious cancer treatment. So
Yes, sir.
this goes a long way.
Yes, sir. It sure does.
Mr. President, are another round of talks planned with Iran? And if so, will you send Vice President J.D. Vance with?
Well, he's done a good job, and Steve and Jared, they've all done a very good job. And I can tell you that we've been called by the other side. They'd like to make a deal very badly, very badly.
What was the sticking point over? You said it was over nuclear.
It was over nuclear, very similar. Yeah, very good. I guess you're listening. It's over the fact that they will never have a nuclear weapon. Iran, you marking it down? Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. And we agreed to a lot of things, but they didn't agree to that. And I think they will agree to it. I'm almost sure of it. In fact, I am sure of it. If they don't agree, there's no deal. There'll never be a deal. Iran will not have a nuclear weapon, and we're going to get the dust back. We'll get it back either. We'll get it back from them.
Sorry, Captain Blackbird. I didn't see which picture you're talking about, bro. Did they have a picture up here?
Or we'll take it.
Mr. President, as far as the naval blockade is concerned, what's the end game? Is it to force Iran back to the negotiating table? Is it to open up the strait so that gas prices ultimately come down?
Maybe everything. I mean, both of those things, certainly, and more. We can't let a country blackmail or extort.
He's an orange cross. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, turn on those notifications. We're getting messages like this from Captain Blackbird 7 all the time. And become a member if you want.
The world, because that's what they're doing. They're really blackmailing the world. We're not going to let that happen. And you know, the amazing thing is, we don't, can you believe this? We don't use the strait. We don't need the strait. We have our own oil and gas, much more than we need. We have more oil and gas than Saudi Arabia. Think of this. We produce more. Saudi Arabia, and add Russia to it. Substantially more. And by next year, we'll have double that amount.
We have more gas than Saudi Arabia and Russia combined. And next year, we're going to have more than that, double that. So maybe the people like hating on Trump, the U.S. citizens, might start gravitating toward him and liking him. We'll see. Maybe the whole world when the gas prices drop, because there's a huge scam with gas prices, and I can show you that right now.
So we don't need it, but the world needs it. And
how you doing, Terry? Good to see you, brother.
Many ships are heading to our country right now as we speak to load up with the best. Really, I guess you could say some.
Alyssa Taylor says, drain the swamp.
But he said the best and sweetest. I don't know exactly what sweet is, but when it relates to oil, it's a good thing. But they're coming to our country. Right now, there are many boats coming to our country. Now, it could very well be this is going to be settled before that. We've been called this morning by the right people, the appropriate people, and they want to work a deal. They would like to work a deal.
Is it your anticipation, Mr. President, that other countries will assist in this effort to blockade Iran and those specific...
Yeah, other countries are going to also.
Which countries, sir?
We don't need other countries, frankly, but they've offered the services. We'll let it be known probably tomorrow.
Has the blockade started, sir?
Yeah, started 10 o'clock.
Bishop Robert Barron supports you and your policies, praises you for defending religious freedom.
Yeah.
He now says you owe Pope Leo an apology. Will you apologize?
No, I don't, because Pope Leo said things that are wrong. He was very much against what I'm doing with regard to Iran, and you can.
Have you seen the lines of cars?
Not be happy with the end result. You have hundreds of millions of people dead, and it's not going to happen. So I can't. I think he's very weak on crime and other things. So I'm not. I mean, he went public. I'm just responding to Pope Leo, and you know his brother is a big Mac.
Viva la Chile.
Person, and he's a great guy, Louis. And I said I like Louis better than I like the Pope. No, you have to have law and order in our country, and that's what we have now. We have the lowest crime numbers we've had in a long time, despite the fact that many...
That's incredible. Crime numbers are absolutely low. Gotta love that, Americans, right? You need to love that. Or maybe not.
Criminals were allowed into our country, but we've got...
All this just to avoid talking about Island Man. Yeah, Captain Blackbird. Seems like it, bro.
A lot of them out. We've done a great job on crimes.
Do you think that's actually what's happening? They're like, you know what? Whatever happened with Island Man and all of his things, we need to do something even worse. Like, so much worse, so people can be like, you know what? That Island Man thing wasn't that bad. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, subscribe, turn on notifications. We're going live every day of 2026, and become a member if you want.
So we have the lowest murder rate in 125 years, since 1900, the lowest murder rate. So we believe strongly in law and order, and he seemed to have a problem with that.
How you doing, Adrian? Good to see you.
So there's nothing to apologize for. He's wrong. The other thing is he didn't like what we're doing with respect to Iran, but Iran is wants to be a nuclear nation.
D. Scurry has joined in on the chat, saying, I don't think he could do anything worse than the island thing. Yeah, bro. That was pretty bad. Like, where'd he go after that? Like, under the barrel? What'd he do? Just keep on digging. How you doing, Tara? Good to see you.
So they can exterminate the world. Not going to happen.
And Mr. President,
SB Moose says, I'm sorry for you guys. Love from Australia. Hang in there. We love Australia. Good to see you. Every single person I met from Australia, super cool, very kind.
Iran, if the deal is not reached by the end of the ceasefire, does your threat from before still stand?
Yeah, I don't want to comment on that, but it won't be pleasant for them. Let me put it that way.
Do you still plan to charge a toll to use restraining Hormuz, sir?
Has your timetable changed in any way in terms of ending this conflict?
No, we're just going. It's going on. Just right now, there's no fighting. Right now, we have a blockade. They're doing no business. I didn't like seeing boats come out if they were doing business with Iran, but if they weren't, no boats came out. So now Iran is doing absolutely no business. And
Christine Lee has joined the chat, saying he does not even make any sense. So gas is almost $5 a gallon, but we have tons of it now. And we have so much that he's selling it to other countries. What a S hit. My goodness. Great point, Christine. Thank you for chiming in. Yeah, it's a little interesting. So if we have so much gas, the price of gas should come down as far as, what is that? Demand and what else? Quantity and demand.
we're going to keep it that way very easily. Don't forget, their Navy is gone, their Air Force is gone, their anti-aircraft is gone, their radar is gone, and their leaders are gone. That's a lot.
Do you still want to charge the
Those folks are coming from predominantly going to China, Mr. President. Has Xi Jinping reached out? I know you're going to be...
No, but we have a very good relationship with China. He would like to see this ended also. He certainly wants it ended. Everyone, I want to see it ended too, but we can't give a nuclear weapon to a group of people that have caused nothing but havoc for 47 years. Look, I'm the president that's done something about it. This should have been, and many other presidents regret that they didn't. You know, so I'm doing something about it.
Ukraine impeachment documents that were just declassified show that Eric Charamella not only submitted false information, but that he had no direct knowledge of the alleged conversation. It was all hearsay. Do you feel vindicated by those?
Yeah, I do. They're a bunch of crooked people. You're talking about with respect
Jerry
to
Freeman.
All of the things that they put against me. Yeah.
Jerry Freeman says he compared himself to Jesus when he posted a pic using artificial intelligence healing a sick person, which is commonly known to be a picture of Christ healing the unhealable. Yeah, and here is the picture. I guess he deleted that picture as well, so yeah, but what do you think about the POTUS comparing himself to Jesus, or did he? Or is that actually what he wants to do to America, and after helping USA, help all the other countries? That would be the best option, right?
Well, it's come out that in so many different ways. Thank you very much.
Tony Tigress 77. Thank you, bro. Supply and demand. Just had one of those brain stalls for a sec. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Going live every day of 2026, and we're getting some awesome messages and creating a brilliant community. And we help each other, like Tony Tigress just helped me. Thank you, buddy.
Much for that question. I appreciate it. But in so many different ways, the election was rigged. The 2020 election was rigged. We found that out. What you just said is just a piece of that. It's a big piece, but minor, relatively speaking, compared to what they did. They cheated in the election. They cheated on the vote. They cheated in every way possible, and it's the only way we got an incompetent man to be a president.
Tara chiming in saying, that picture is painted. That is not AI generated.
President, and he was an incompetent man. Many of the things that we're talking about, even including this would have been settled a long time ago, not now. And it should have been settled by other presidents. But the election was a rigged election. We can't let that happen to our country.
It's concealment
How
of
you doing, Waffle Jackson? Good to see you, buddy.
exculpatory information. What should happen?
Well, it's a very serious charge against them and the Democrats. They cheat. They can't get elected with their policy. So their policy's no good. They want to
Okay, correction. Tara was joking. Yo, Cap Williams, how you doing, brother? Good to see you.
have, open borders. They want to have men playing in women's sport. Do you think that men should play in women's sports?
I really don't have an opinion on that.
You don't, I'll bet
No,
you do.
No, I'm here about
Pizza.
no tax on tips.
Yeah. Okay.
Did he just say pizza? No tax on tips? You never know what that means, you know? Could mean veggie pizza, pepperoni pizza, could mean something else.
Is it your understanding,
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Is it your understanding that during this period of time, while the U.S. has instituted this naval blockade, that oil companies will be able to send their oil tankers through the strait, get more oil out from this area?
Yeah, I think they're going to be
Is jerky another code name? I haven't heard of jerky, but I know the pizza one's not a good one. Allegedly.
doing very well there, and I think they're doing very well here. You know, a lot of tankers are coming up here. They're coming in empty and out full. And we have a great capacity to take care of that business.
Ma'am, may we know your name, please? Have you delivered to the White House before?
I have not. My name is Sharon Simmons.
And are the White House good tippers? Do you know?
Wait.
Potentially. Yes, very.
Mr. President, can I ask you something?
That's
about
good. Thank you. You reminded me.
Mr. President, one on Cuba, sir.
Yeah, peace out, 9463, saying that people in these comments, man, we got the best chat in the world, man. We have the best. Capwin says the government needs to be strictly regulating what private sports companies do. What private sports companies do. Are you talking about like steroids and sports, or what are you talking about?
Ukraine previously said that you had no problem with countries sending.
Alan Kogut has jumped in on the chat saying, keep dirty paws to F. King Self. That's right.
To Cuba after previously promising to tariff them. What happened? What changed?
Well, we're going to see with Cuba.
I'm just going to get some G-Ape soda. I'm thirsty.
Cuba's another story. Cuba's been a terribly run country for a long time.
Pillow Pants adds, all praise Daddy Trump, you dirty lefties.
It's got a bad system. It's been very oppressive, as you know. And we have a lot of great Cuban Americans, all of whom just about voted for me. And they were treated very badly. In many cases, family members have been killed. They've been beaten up. And
oh my God, Jumanji. That's horrible. That is so horrible. Didn't know about those code words. I thought you were actually going to like watch a stream on your phone and go to your fridge. Never mind, bro. I take that back.
Mugged and like terrible things happened in Cuba. And Cuba's a failing nation. And
Cuba is a failing nation. Hopefully we can help them, right? Maybe. What do you guys think about Cuba? Goober Trooper. Have y'all heard of Long Pig? Never heard of that. Island Mine Files, dude. Island Man.
we're going to do this, and we may stop by Cuba after we're finished with this. But Cuba is a nation that was just been horribly run for many years by Castro.
You said may stop by regulator Bill Pulte regarding those two recent referrals for Letitia James for insurance fraud. Do you know if federal prosecutors have evidence to charge?
Well, I don't know. I know she's a very corrupt person. And you're talking about the so-called Attorney General of New York. She's a very corrupt person. That's been proven now. And I know I have nothing to do with it, but they're looking at things all over the place, more than one state, concerning her and concerning people like Comey, who's a dirty cop. Comey's a dirty cop, and dirty cops are bad. Nobody likes the police more than me, the law enforcement more than me, but Comey's a totally dirty cop, and we're not gonna stand for it. Yeah.
The UFC fight that's happening at the White House this.
Semina has joined the chat. Thank you for joining in on the chat. And Semina says, Trump always prided himself with surrounding himself with the best talent. Nepotism is not working for him, nor our country, nor our world.
Summer. UFC tip.
Nepotism means favoritism shown or patronage granted to relatives, as in business. Oh, by giving family members roles and duties within the government. Okay, I see what you're saying. So you're against nepotism and against DEI, I'm guessing too, right? Or maybe I'm wrong. May the best person for that position maintain that job or get that job. Very cool. Thank you, Semina, for joining in on the chat.
Typically numbers those fights consecutively, but should they label this one UFC 1776?
That's a good idea. I'll tell that to Dana White. I like that idea, actually. I will say I've been involved with a lot of big events. I've never had an event that's had more interest than the UFC fight that we have right at the front door. Right there, they're going to start building about a 4,500.
Kate Pizzle 206 says, I pray you get to my comment without me spending $1 or gifting a bit. Just don't plan on spending money on YouTube till they stop posting all these evil ads on news without it saying it's a lie. Very true, buddy. Very true. And yeah, there should be more accuracy, but unfortunately, I think that's the world we live in. But that's one of the reasons we're here. We're trying to find peace, and we're trying to find truth, and trying to develop an amazing community over here. So if anyone wants to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, or become a member, you're more than welcome to. But yeah, bro, yeah, let's have more transparency and more honesty within the government. And I agree with you.
100-seat arena, and then in the back at the Ellipse, we're going to have maybe 100,000, 50 to 100,000 people. I guess they're building tremendous stages, and you're going to have massive screens of the fight.
Mandy says, what are you talking about? The USA has 121 oil tankers rolling up to buy American oil. This is great for America. There you go.
And it's a very popular sport, but I have never been involved because of the White House and everything. There's a lot of reasons why.
Thank you, Samina.
But we're having a fight at the White House on June 14th, and we're going to have an arena built right at the front door.
Wow.
And if you want, is your husband up to coming, do you think? Does he like UFC?
He might.
If he's feeling good, we'll make sure you come.
Just want to mention to Jumanji 225 about that A-Chrome thing. I hope that's wrong, and I hope that's a whole conspiracy that's a complete lie, because that's really, really brutal. And if it's not a lie and it's actually happening, I just want the people to know that are doing that the Lord knows and the Lord sees what's happening. So hopefully we can find peace and stop all that bad stuff.
Come, okay?
That would be wonderful.
That's
Thank
better
you.
than the tip I just gave you. I'll tell you. That's a lot better. But no, if he's feeling good, right?
Yeah.
Is he doing okay? Is he going to be okay?
He's doing very well. He's doing.
And Cheetah says nepotism and DEI are the same thing, just on opposite sides of the same spectrum. Going so far left, you end up far right. There you go. That's wild. So what happens with all the extreme leftists? Do they just become extreme rightists like once in a while? And then same with the rightists. They go so far right, they become leftists.
Doing very well. He actually, during the process, he wrote a book. And
Go ahead, give him the name. Maybe yourself.
He hasn't had it published yet, but it's a book on humility. And
K Pizzle says, a whole advertisement. I'm done. WTF, we are cooked in America. Don't let that pizza go over your head. Yeah, that is so wild. So he's talking about this DoorDash thing, and allegedly Donald Trump just got some pizza. And that word pizza means a lot of different things. And we're not going to cover that because I don't want to get in trouble.
His name is Leo, and
then we got a message from, how do I say this name? Boxy S1Z. I translated this. And that person says, does the United States need structural reform? That's a great question. And who would reform it? And what would that entail? And then where would it lead to? Like, if it does have reform where they're going to be more efficient with government spending and then not get those people that are exposing fraud in trouble and, clean up the swamp essentially, and compete with America and fix the education system, make every American get the absolute best education that they possibly could. That'd be cool. That'd be very cool. Thank you for your chat.
he's just
good guy.
Doing good. He's doing great.
How long are you married?
Mickey Smith, you said, ouch, my ear. What happened? Is this something I did? Yo, how you doing, Todd Casey? Good to see you.
We have been married for 6 years.
Oh, so that's
But
good.
we've,
Okay.
like most people, we've been together for over 10. So
That's very good. Well, that's very nice to say hello to him. He's going to be good. Okay, he's going to get better and he's going to be good.
yes, sir.
Good.
Kizzy says, did we already establish that she is a paid actress, not a random DoorDasher? I just got here. Is that accurate? I did not know. Yeah, then it's most likely advertisement, right?
Yes.
Well, I want to thank you all, and I especially want to thank you for being here.
Well, I want to thank you
Thank you very
for
much.
the no tax on tips.
Oh, that's good.
It has helped my family out immensely.
I hope you find a toilet ASAP. Hope everything's safe, and I hope everything goes well and that there is enough toilet paper for you.
And I definitely appreciate it. Thank
That's
you.
so nice. You know, the one thing that I just in leaving, we've had more good press for a change, having to do with the fact that people are receiving more money from their tax refunds than they ever thought possible. We had a man the other day got $5,000. Another one got $7,000. They weren't expecting anything like this, and it's because of the great big beautiful bill.
Chris Six said, yeah, it's not so much a spectrum, but a circle. Go far left and you end up being a fascist.
And that's why you came, and I really appreciate it. And tell your husband to get better.
I will.
And if he's feeling good, you'll come up and you'll watch that fight.
All
okay,
right.
June 14th.
I appreciate it.
All
Thank
right?
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Take care of yourself.
Thank you.
Any update on
Thank you.
DOJ, though,
Thank
Mr.
you.
President?
Your reaction
You
to
went to
Viktor
leave
Orban?
DOJ. Any update on who you want to leave DOJ being good enough?
Well, I think Todd,
Well,
as
y'all.
far as doing a fantastic job, I will say that. He's a great lawyer. I know that because he's been with me a long time. And so far, he's doing a great job. But we have incredible people in the DOJ, getting better all the time. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Well, there you.
The Oval Office. All right, so gotta do a little reframe for y'all because I love y'all. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn on those notifications. We're going live every single day of 2026. This is the Shah of Iran. And you're gonna see here with this video how corrupt the whole oil industry is. It's so corrupt, just absolutely corrupt.
Have you seen the lines of cars stretching for blocks, in some cases for miles, waiting to get
I have
gas?
seen the pictures,
And you cannot
but
get...
you have imported more oil than any time in the past.
Well, not recently, we haven't.
You have?
You mean we are still importing more oil than we were, let's say, in September? You believe that?
I can't say for sure. But what is certain is that you are not importing less.
Than we were importing last September? Then this whole thing is a fraud?
You know that ships are...
Samina says, I wonder the reason Netanyahu and Trump keep spurning the hatred wheel, the more outrageously inhumane their wars against the innocent. Question mark. They don't care about their image anymore. Why? Very, very good question. Very good question. Yeah, Terry, that is the Shah.
are changing their destinations 2 or 3 times in the oceans.
So they're meant to go from point A to point B, but instead of that, they go A, C, D, E, and then to point B. So what happens and why do they do that? Why do they reroute?
You sell the oil for a certain destination and it ends up somewhere else.
What you seem to be saying is that there is some fraud involved, that there is something going on that doesn't meet the eye.
Oh, something is going on for sure.
And who is being enriched by it?
The oil companies.
The oil companies.
You know that one oil company has made 67% interest this year and another one even more.
67% interest. Goodness gracious. So that means if they do $100 worth of produce, they get 167.
Well, the president of Aramco acknowledges.
Yes?
Not the president, the chairman of the board of Aramco acknowledged to us that their profits, the parent company, will go up by 400% next year, just as Iran's profits will go up by 400%.
Yes, but this is our wealth, our natural wealth. For them, it's only a question of manipulation.
Charlie didn't care what...
What do you guys think? What do you guys think? What's happening with the oil? And is the oil finally going to get cheaper? Daniel says Israel wants to control Middle and USA wants to choke the China oil supply. What's the game plan? Why would they want to do that? What do they benefit by doing that? I think we need more Austrian painters. Barry has joined in on the chat. Yeah, that's a very good idea. Let's see what this sweet Erica is saying. What do you guys think? How you doing, Aaron? Good to see you. John McSheon says Iran is G. Hey.
What skin color you were. He didn't care what religion you were. He loved excellence. He loved knowing that people, his favorite word was earn. He loved knowing that people worked hard to earn.
It's so important to work hard and to earn that thing that you're looking for, that you want to get 100%.
Earn what they got. He worked so hard to build Turning Point USA. He is a thought leader, and he was brilliant of a man.
He was a brilliant man. He was.
So that's fine if you want to take words out of his mouth.
Y'all might need your sunglasses for this part of this clip because it's getting bright, man. I'm just curious, what is this? Christianity generally views jewelry as permissible, with the consensus being that it is not inherently sinful, but excessive or ostentatious jewelry is often condemned when it stems from vanity, pride, or idolatry. I guess that's not from pride, vanity, or idolatry, right? Yeah, he was. Waffle Jackson says, "Rip, R.I.P. Charlie. The world lost a real one." 100%, brother. 100%. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. We're going live every day at 2026. And we also appreciate people who challenge the norm, like Scott Grief, who says Charlie was a terrible human. Please, please let us know. Let us know what you know about Charlie being a terrible human. We'd love to know. And he says Charlie could cause untold harm to the USA and the world. I don't know if many people would agree with that statement, honestly.
Or out of context without the whole thing.
W2 Mudhen has said she was expelled from Romania for suspected little thing trafficking. I wonder where they were going. Yeah.
In perspective. But that's the problem.
Kirk thing's weird. Having one cup of coffee and going to work. Construction. Hard AF work all day. Where are my Democrats at? Oh yeah, still dreaming of things to complain about. John McShine has joined the chat, bro. Have a good day at work today, man. Hope all your nails land in the right spot. And you're safe up there, man. You're a hero. We need those construction workers, man. Good for you. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, turn on notifications. We're going live every day at 2026, and become a member if you want.
Because now there's video footage from behind.
Is that right?
Yeah. The round that he was supposedly shot with was a 30-06, which is a big round. That's a round that you kill a moose with. And it doesn't even have an exit wound. It makes zero sense. Like, we haven't seen that guy, the guy who loves furries, who supposedly killed Charlie Kirk.
Tyler
Robinson?
Yeah.
We haven't seen him.
Yeah, we haven't seen him.
No.
He hasn't said he did it.
What happened? Where is that guy? Do you guys know? Like, what's the actual deal with that guy? That's interesting. He's been out of the media. He hasn't really made a statement. He hasn't really admitted that he's done it, right?
He hasn't said he didn't do it. And then there was footage of him like at a yogurt shop.
Yeah, who's gonna go to a yogurt shop after allegedly doing something horrible like that? Nikki Graham says, didn't agree with much Charlie said, but when he started talking about Israel, it got real. That's right. That's right. Allegedly. There's a few phone calls where he was like telling his friends, I think this is the last day, or, you know, it's dangerous and this and that.
Right.
Like way across town, like 20 minutes.
I don't know if this guy looks like Matthew McConaughey. I don't even know how to spell his last name. This one. I don't see it. I don't see the familiarity. Maybe.
Right.
Like way across town, like 20 minutes later. The whole thing is like super sus.
Joe Rogan was never this
super sus. Haploid says Kirk is just a D-ad bigot. Are you talking about Erica Kirk or Charlie Kirk? Who are you talking about? Thank you for joining in on the chat, buddy. Daniel Kungu said, what if Charlie never was extinguished? You know, blood on the ground. I didn't see that. I didn't hear about that. Tara says, that guy, the Robinson guy, is in Utah awaiting trial in jail. Okay, so he can't be doing many interviews if he's in jail, right? Unless a journalist goes there and does an interview. Barry says, I wonder if he has a new BF, Tara.
same after he received the silent warning on his own podcast.
Let's try something fun.
Okay.
Would your wife know your ATM PIN code? No?
No.
Make up a fake 4-digit number.
All right, so this is a little wild. Do you guys remember a little bit ago in the chat when like things are getting heating up, and that one guy was like threatening people, and then the other guy was saying like, "Hey, that P word, and tier, whatever it's called."
Off the top of your head, what feels to you utterly spontaneous? Say it.
2020.
I'm going to write down 2020.
Okay.
Statistically, men will lie bigger, women smaller. That means that your first number is smaller. I think the first number of your code's a 1.
Michael Linzo, guten Morgen, buddy. Manthan, what's your suggestion, buddy?
One, isn't it? Your real PIN code. I'm only going to ask you one more question.
I don't know if we can do that. I think the liberal straights might get offended, you know, because there's some straight liberals. No, I don't know, bro.
Last number's the biggest, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm showing this to you. How'd I do, Joe? Is that your ATM PIN code?
Yeah.
So Joe was allegedly really scared by this, but I think that like that information, of course, is like private information, but those people that have hacking skills can pretty much very simply do that, and you never know like what this guy's angle is. So yeah, he doesn't look like Matthew McConaughey at all.
That's weird. Yeah, I don't like that.
All right, check this out. This is a...
So here we go. We have another angel on Earth. Just trying to get rid of fraud. And they don't want to do that. They don't want to do that, these Californian people, for some reason. Yeah. But there's also some amazing people here in the room too, so don't forget about that.
Bit crazy. California Democrats advance Stop Nick Shirley Act to criminalize investigative journalism. So after I expose widespread fraud all across America, and quite frankly, states like Minnesota and California are just the worst at it, letting fraud take place, especially inside of immigrant communities. For instance, the Somalians in Minnesota and then the Armenians in California. And so now they're trying to silence anybody who exposes fraud inside of California. For instance, if this bill is passed, the Quality Leering Center that was in Minnesota would be protected from being exposed. That is absolutely crazy. And the crazy thing about this is the person who's proposing this bill, her name is Mia Bonta. Her husband is the Attorney General of California. And so let's say you expose fraud. This is what could happen to you inside the state of California. You could get a misdemeanor, a $10,000 fine, imprisonment, and your content forced to be deleted. That is absolutely crazy. It is time for people to...
For your content to get deleted as well. That's pretty wild. That's like pretty much going overboard, right? That's a wild one. What do you think, chat? That's a wild one. Yeah, we're gonna see a video of Swalwell, and then Schiff is finished. Is really. Let me know. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, turn on notifications. We're going live every day of 2026.
To either stand up or we face mass oppression from those that rule us.
That's so wild, man. That is just so wild. And here we have a post from the IG, the powerful IG. So it says, Nick Shirley Act, California Democrats move to criminalize fraud investigations instead of stopping fraud. In a bold move hailed as a victory for emotional well-being, California Democrats advanced to the Nick Shirley Act, AB 2624, Tuesday, a groundbreaking bill that makes it illegal to investigate fraud instead of stopping it. Illegal to investigate fraud instead of stopping it. It's not like he's marketing fraud, bro. What is it? What's going on? How is there? I guess that's like the only point. Like they're marketing fraud, and now like a bunch of kids that just graduated high school and don't want to go to college want to, you know, become fraudsters and develop a hospice, you know, or one of those types of things. Yeah, Tara says that poor kid needs to have full-time security. Absolutely. Yeah, wacky head. Absolutely. That's not investigation. That's marketing. So I don't understand how this is even going for it. Eric Tossin, Democrats are criminals. Turns out a lot of them, or some of them, could be, allegedly. Yeah. The legislation shields taxpayer-funded immigrant support organizations from the trauma of being filmed while allegedly running ghost daycares and pocketing hundreds of millions. Oh, yeah. They have trauma of being filmed, yeah, but what about the hard-working people like that dude who was just going to construction? What about their trauma for paying tax dollars for some weird Somalian who's driving a BMW Z-Class that's never came out yet, you know, like from the future, and it's not even working? What are you guys talking about? Trauma of being filmed? You're traumatizing everybody who's paying tax dollars. Be realistic, man. Yeah, fraud. It's called non-profit, bro. Seriously. Nick Shirley, Z-Class. Nick Shirley and his camera crew have been harassing hardworking nonprofits by cruelly pointing out empty buildings while the state cuts them huge checks, said Assemblywoman Mia Bonta. How you doing, Mia Bonta? Who are you? State Assemblywoman Mia Bonta. Yeah, girl. Exposing waste and fraud is the government's job, not some kid with a GoPro. Yeah. Under the bill, citizen journalists could face misdemeanor charges and 10,000 fines for releasing such videos. Wait. So is Mia Bonta against him? Exposing waste and fraud is the government's job, not some kid with a GoPro. Oh, so she's mocking him. This girl right here, who's not missing any you-know-whats. Yeah, she's not missing any of those things, you know what I'm talking about. Saying exposing waste and fraud is the government's job, not some kid with a GoPro. All right. But anyways, $10,000 fines for releasing such videos. Imagine that. You release a video, you get fined $10,000. You're like, that's more than my whole camera and computer setup. What are you talking about, dude? Because nothing says transparency like a restraining order against reality. Nick Shirley responded, they couldn't fix the fraud, so they're just making it illegal to notice it. Classic California, bro. 100%. Reported by Cletor's TDS News. At press time, lawmakers were already drafting a follow-up bill to make math a hate crime. Make math a hate crime. Oh my gosh. Steve W has joined in on the chat. Oh my god. Zancy Pelosi says sue her into the Stone Age. Yeah, Zancy, that's right. Tara Matthews says, yeah, I'm traumatized that my tax dollars go towards abortion. Yeah, seriously. Just dropping facts. Saying what you won't. Haha, you clowns are so cooked. You never do anything about anything these Democrats do. You just spin in circles waiting for some savior to come bail you out. What a bunch of small kittens. you know, not so much you can do in certain situations. Like, it'd be nice if we could, but we unfortunately really can't. Talking about Los Angeles and California. What happened here?
And is behind bars. He's arrested weeks after authorities say that he broke into a Beverly mansion, he tied up a housekeeper, and took off with valuables. And prosecutors say that man is the ex-boyfriend of another housekeeper who worked at that $20 million.
Okay, so the ex-housekeeper got him access.
$1 million home. Our Peter Eliopoulos is live outside Salem District Court tonight with everything else we're learning, Peter.
Yeah, that's right, Ed. So we're also learning prosecutors believe that suspect dragged that housekeeper by the neck around the home as he looked for valuables here. And we are also learning that there is another suspect wanted in this case.
A large quantity of gold, silver, high-value watches, an unknown amount of United States currency, and other collectible items were stolen from the home.
Tonight, 25-year-old Amaje Brown is in jail, accused of burglarizing this $20 million Beverly mansion, dragging the housekeeper around the home at gunpoint, and eventually tying her up in the garage. Prosecutors say after stealing the valuables, Brown also drove off in the homeowner's Porsche, ditching it in a cemetery in Lynn, but then was captured there on surveillance.
Shout out to St. Mary's Cemetery.
Wearing a distinct pair of sandals. They also revealed today he had a connection to someone in the house.
Another housemate who works at the home, ex-boyfriend, is a defendant before you. They found out he had a domestic charge at the Encore. They went and pulled the Encore tapes and were able to view the same subject wearing the same sandals.
From there, prosecutors say
they should show his face nice and clear so everyone can just roast him and not hire him until he improves or stops stealing. I don't know.
State police got a search warrant for Brown's phone, tracking him to a jewelry dealer in New York City.
They have surveillance of him walking with a rolly bag. An exchange was made.
Today, after Brown was arrested, prosecutors say they found more than $300,000 cash in his car, as well as gold taken from the house. That house, which belongs...
That doesn't look like a house. That's like a hotel. That's like a little hotel right there.
To Thomas Swan III was occupied tonight. No comment from Swan on this development, but he previously told us this.
I'm confident that we'll see justice.
So no word on who that second suspect is in this case. Now, this suspect that was here today is also charged with witness intimidation, but it's unclear.
Witness intimidation on top of that. How much deeper can you dig yourself into a hole? Not the smartest thing to do.
Clear exactly what the circumstances are there. He is in jail without bail pending a dangerousness hearing that is set for next week. We're live here in Salem tonight. I'm Peter Eliopoulos, WCVB News Center 5.
Yeah, there's some idiots around, that's for sure.
Congress is back in Washington after a 2-week break. Right now, lawmakers are facing a stacked and high-stakes agenda, from the war in Iran to the DHS funding stalemate. 27 News Washington correspondent
SCPX Shy Guy says Nick Shirley is the GOAT. Yeah, brother, absolutely. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. We're going live every day of 2026, and become a member if you want.
Rashad Hudson joins us live now with more.
What'd you say? Millen Begum, I'll sub to you if you give mod. Oh, like you can be a moderator to... Is that what you're talking about?
Hi, Rebecca. Congress is back and hitting the ground running. Lawmakers return to a perfect storm of funding battles as well as national security tensions, but it has real-world consequences on Americans here at home and abroad. A full plate on Capitol Hill as lawmakers return from recess to tackle some major issues. First, the war in Iran. Democratic lawmakers are highly critical of President Trump's military strategy.
Operation Epic Failure is a much more appropriate name.
Operation Epic Failure. Epic Failure.
Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer and others in the party are now pushing for a vote to limit the president's war powers, arguing Congress has been sidelined.
No serious oversight,
no accountability, not one.
Meanwhile, back here at home, the Department of Homeland Security is facing a major funding crisis, now stretching more than 8 weeks.
Senator Schumer and the Democrats engineered this dangerous, reckless shutdown that we're currently living in.
But Democrats say any agreement must include changes to how ICE operates. House Republicans are now moving ahead with a plan to fund most of DHS and could turn to reconciliation in the Senate, a process that would allow passage with a simple majority.
The Democrats want to defund law enforcement in America.
And then the political fight over voting laws. President Trump's Save America Act would require proof of citizenship to register to vote.
We've seen Democrats contort themselves every which way to justify opposing the common sense policies in this bill.
And lawmakers are under a lot of pressure to get some of these things accomplished, but it's unclear how much of it they'll actually finish in the weeks ahead. Rebecca?
And Rashad, when could
Robert Calder says, is this news live? It's recent, not live.
we see some movement on any of these priorities?
But we're live. We're trying to find peace in this world, so make sure y'all like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. And here is the Congress return. Okay, yeah, so they're talking about Trump's optimism.
Could talks between the U.S. and Iran be starting back up again? President Trump teased that very possibility today, telling the New York Post
Where did talks stand?
that to stay in Pakistan because, quote, something could be happening over the next 2 days. If talks continue later this week, sources tell CNN that Vice President J.D. Vance will...
John Lindsay says, you realize for the first 100 years, there was no police force in this country, just hired security men like the Pinkertons. The Pinkertons, a detective dynasty, historical private detective agency, and a 2014-15 Canadian television series. Alan Pinkerton, the largest private law enforcement organization in the world. Ah, I see what you're saying. Did the Pinkertons just become like a government?
Once again lead those negotiations.
There's a lot of course, mistrust between...
David Rube says, I hope they don't defund the police in America. For sure, man. Got to support the heroes in the United States.
Iran and the United States of America.
Then he says they make better targets with the badge on them. I can't support that statement, man. I can't support that statement. You know, there's not every single person's a good person, just like not every single police officer is a good police officer. But the big and far wide majority of police officers are good people.
You're not going to solve that problem overnight, but I feel very good about where we are.
So a lot of
John Lindsay says police forces were created by corporations and companies that wanted their cargo ships and their cargoes protected and made us pay for it with taxes. Very interesting. Did not know that about the origins of law enforcement. Thank you.
Optimism from the president and his vice president. But Peter, it's not the first time that we've heard them express optimism about a negotiation.
Unnoted adventurer. Seek help, David. Very kind of you, very kind of you.
When maybe that was a little bit too on the bright side, the gaps that they have to kind of bridge between Iran and the U.S. are still pretty large. President Trump told the New York Post that he was not pleased with reports that the U.S. had asked Iran to suspend its uranium enrichment for at least 2 decades during the last weekend's unsuccessful talks. I've been saying they can't have nuclear weapons, so I don't like the 20 years. Understandable, but Iran is at 5 years. So even getting to 20 years seems hard to do. Getting to never, ever, ever.
Terry says the Pinkertons were those hired goons sent to extinguish the coal miners on strike, if I remember correctly. Did not hear about that.
Seems even harder.
And that's something that Donald Trump throughout negotiations has been very good at, is throwing something on the table and then removing it. traditionally in a negotiation, you put it on the table. If it's on the table, great, it's up for discussion. It's kind of a sacrosanct thing. That is not his approach. Where we are right now, and I think this is where you see the naval blockade that the U.S. has started to enforce against Iranian ships that have left port in Iran or that are going to ports in Iran, forcing them to turn.
Double NI says, what does he say? Did anyone recognize Zelensky in his new mask? No, I did not. What's going on? Zelensky has a new mask?
Turn back, forcing them to not continue on their journey, denying the Iranians that oil revenue. That is ratcheting up the pressure against the regime to an inordinate amount. And where we are right now, frankly, I feel good about.
Do you have any reason
I don't know,
to feel good about it? Meaning, like, any indications that we're actually close to a deal other than the president saying 2 days?
We don't know, except for like minor leaks, what has come out of the Islamabad talks and what the consequences have been when the Iranian delegation returned to Tehran and their conversations, right? We're relying on leaks there. But the reality is that the screws are being tightened to an inordinate degree against that regime at the moment. If I were in their shoes and looking around at all my options, you don't have any. So the question between...
I don't know, bro. I don't know if Zelensky is Putin. That's what the alleged thoughts were over there. But I hope that there's peace there absolutely fast, you know.
5 years and 20 years and never years, going between all of that, that is where ultimately at the end of the day, they need to figure out what is in their best interest.
I thought that regime was deposed, one. And two, I think
the Ayatollah economy's dead. Most of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard leadership are dead.
The fact is that we're still arguing for the same things that the JCPOA did.
No.
Diddycrats are pathetic. Real American has joined the chat. Make sure you all like, subscribe, turn on those notifications. We're going live every day at 2026 and become a member if you want.
I mean, and
ballistic missiles and proxies.
Actually, if you want to go back to it, we actually had a deal in place where there was no nuclear enrichment within 20 years. We had this conversation last night, and we also, correct, exactly, which we don't have right now. And then we also had inspectors going in, being able to check, trust, and verify what they were doing. We don't have that right now.
Which also would have ended a year and a half ago.
We also have something that most people don't want, which is that in order to get to where you're talking about, which is actually destroying their entire nuclear program, we have to put boots on the ground. And nobody wants to say,
I don't think that's true.
No, first of all, let's not lie to the American people. We actually know that their nuclear enrichment program is actually deep. You cannot. Exactly. So let's not lie to folk and just say that we can just bomb from on. You cannot. You cannot destroy their entire nuclear enrichment program unless you put boots on the ground. That's a fact. That's not something we're making up. That's not something we're just talking about on air.
Iranians, if in the context of a diplomatic negotiation, say, you know what, that highly enriched uranium we're sitting on, it is no longer beneficial for us to
actually
do that.
argue.
Bakari, we have boots on the water right now. I mean, it's let's
there's
not.
There's a ship in between.
Well, yes, I know there's a ship in between, but that ship can easily be targeted.
Boots on the boats. Boots on the boats.
By Iranians, and they would be toast. So we have American lives. You're telling me that you don't think...
We've also lost American lives.
We've lost American lives, and we have American lives at risk there right now. So let's not pretend we don't.
I'm not going to dispute that. You're absolutely right. And there are realistically going to be boots on the ground. We have boots on the boat. That's
why is that realistically, though?
Why is it realistic? I'm agreeing with you.
I mean, I hear you.
Because I've heard a lot of reasons why people are really against what Trump has done, but I'm also not really hearing a rational response why we should let Iran just be. To pretend that this war was completely unnecessary and pretending that Iran is not a threat and pretending it's normal that they swear in their president and Ayatollah screaming death to America. And
how you doing, Mark Roselle? Happy to see you, buddy.
Pretending that enrichment is not a problem, whether it's short-term or long-term, when a regime literally hates Western values, when a regime attacks our allies, I also think it's being ignorant. Now, I don't want...
Yeah, unknown adventure. We have boots and planes, too.
to copy what Europe is doing, where...
Codian, I try to. Not so well, do you? Happy to have you here, buddy.
They want to mortgage their future for 10 years of comfortability at the expense of a long-term problem. So I appreciate the fact that maybe it's short-term pain for a longer-term solution. Is it ideal?
No. What's the pain? Because I heard the talking points and they're great. And I actually agree with some of you because some of what you said. Because listen, I don't want a nuclear enriched Iran. I don't think Iran deserves to have a nuclear weapon. I think they sponsored terror for 40 years. I think they want to destroy America. I think they want to destroy Israel. I agree with all of those points.
Do you guys agree with this? Like, I haven't heard about these threats too often. Like, I've heard them before, but I haven't really heard them like how he's saying them, that they've been happening. So I don't really know if it's happening or not. But did you see that? Like, when did you see that happening? Lived more than 25 years under the regime's jurisdiction. Feel free to ask. Thank you, EWMJ. Good to see you here, buddy. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We're going live every day of 2026, and become a member if you like.
But I'm not the short-term pain thing. You just can't leap over that. So
I think that
Mr. Fresh Edition says North Korea has nukes, and what happened? Yeah, and what happened? Care to elaborate? I'm trying to figure out what you mean.
Define that for me as we
Tater Gang. Wait, no. Boots in the air. Boots in the air.
Go forward, because
short-term pain.
What does that mean? Laying on their back, putting their legs up, trying to increase that blood flow, release that lower back tension.
We're paying more for everything. I'm not going to sit here and deny that gas is not going to go up and
Boots on the Humvee.
Groceries are unaffordable. I'm not going to be ignorant. But I also feel like if we don't do it now, I'm 24. It's going to bite me in the ass down the road at some point. I don't trust in Iran. I don't like that they're sponsoring terrorism. It's death to Israel, but it's death to America right after that.
But respectfully, when you were 16, we had a deal in.
Kaiko Leonen has joined in on the chat. It says, follow the money. Idiots. True. Great. And where is it all going? Allegedly, we're getting a lot of oil, so.
Place.
But do you think
The United States, that is.
But when you were 6, like I hear you're 24 now, when you were 16, we had a deal in place.
Ooh. Seb Applejack says, question, what happened to Gaddafi when he gave up nukes? Yeah. Very good question. Gaddafi voluntarily surrendered Libya's mass weapons destruction programs in 2003 of December. He initially received a reward of normalization with Western powers, including the lifting of sanctions, increasing foreign investment. However, this decision is widely cited by analysts and North Korean officials as having secured his eventual downfall during the 2011 Arab Spring. So from 2003 to 2011, following the disarmament, Gaddafi's regime was integrated into the international community, with the US-UK normalizing relations and providing training to the Libyan military. 2011, so what is that, 8 years later, when Libyan civil war erupted, who helped erupt that civil war? NATO enforced a no-fly zone and conducted airstrikes against Gaddafi's forces, a move that would have been deterred had Libya retained nuclear weapons. Wild. Without the deterrent of nuclear arms, Gaddafi was captured and killed by rebel forces in October 2011, while many of his family members were also killed or captured by NATO and rebel groups.
And that deal is something that actually prevented them more so then from having a nuclear weapon than where we are today.
Thank you, CEB Applejack 5997. We're going live every day at 2026. So make sure y'all like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. Become a member if you want.
Let me let Sarah have a word.
I will add that it took 20 months to negotiate the JCPOA. And then we also look at the Iraq-Iran war that lasted 8 years. I think the Iranian regime feels like they actually have the upper hand because it's in Trump's best interest to wrap this up. Because
Jason Jackson has jumped in on the chat. Democrats have been giving the American citizens pain. You Democrats need to get some cojones and help the greatest president America has ever had. Thank you for joining in on the chat.
He knows that the American people are not on board with this war. They're not on board with the
Jennifer Shaw says Democrats took him out.
Short-term pain, if that's what you're saying, because I feel like there is no end in sight right now. It's wishful thinking for him to think that he's going to be able to wrap this up, and that's on his timeline. But for the Iranians, I think that they actually know that they have Trump backed into a corner right now because
I totally
the American.
disagree.
Well,
I think they have one more.
I also think it's wishful thinking to think that there's not going to be a regime there that is going to be anti-Western.
Chili Willy says conservatives are trying to convince themselves and everyone else that only white males should be allowed to run everything. So they have learned a value lesson with their Trump experiment. Chili Willy, thank you for joining in on the chat. Where are you from? And very interesting. Have you heard of Charlie Kirk? Did you hear about Charlie Kirk's argument with DEI? And basically what he says is, if you're a woman and you do a job better than a white male, you deserve that job. Or if you're an African-American woman and you do a job better than an African-American man, you deserve that job, and vice versa, which means whoever's most fit for that job should actually do that job. And he was probably one of the most conservatives around, with a pure soul, a pure heart. What a nice guy. Something to look up to. So Chili Willy, thank you for jumping in on the chat. And if I'm wrong, let me know, prove me wrong. But yeah, maybe for a few conservatives that could be accurate, but to say for everyone as a generalization, I think that's widely regarded as false.
And be screaming
but
death
at least
to America.
have them be afraid of America.
They're not afraid.
I promise.
They are fundamentalists.
They don't like where they are
listen,
right now.
You know, what people don't understand is what these fundamentalists over there who have not been deposed, who have not changed. It's like with gray hairs. You're 24, you don't have any. You pluck one out, 3 more come out.
I just learned that.
I agree. You can kill the person. You can't kill the ideology.
There has been no regime change.
To Sarah's point, getting a long-term deal, a permanent deal with Iran on their nuclear capability.
Thank you, CEB Applejack. Happy to have you here, buddy.
On their ballistic missiles, on
SCP Shad Guy. After you see your Restream bot 4225, there's an @ thing, and then that's the username. So Restream bot is taking everything from vertical and horizontal and putting it together. So it's not an actual bot, it's just what people are saying that are on either vertical, or if you're on horizontal, or on horizontal if you're on vertical.
Their funding of terror proxies is probably not going to happen in 6 days.
No, I mean,
is that realistic?
I think it's going to be, initially, there can be signals of what is on the table and what remains to be negotiated. And on the Iranian side of the house, committing to having free and open trade through the Strait of Hormuz.
CEB says, yeah, but conservatives have DEI for Israelis. Trying to figure out what you mean, buddy. You don't have to explain yourself if you don't want to.
Now, on the U.S. side of the house, we still have sanctions that we're enforcing against the Iranians. So the
Breach 67, yeah, you'll get the truth from CNN. Yeah, sure, bro.
That's a point of
So in
contention.
other words, not a grand bargain, not the deal.
You're not going to get a grand bargain in a week.
Well, I mean, I'm telling you, this is what J.D. Vance says that that Trump.
Jennifer Shaw says, yeah, Charlie was a dang good man. He was.
Wants a grand bargain. I don't think that they're being transparent with the American people about when that could feasibly happen, if it can happen at all.
But not only transparency. I mean, it's just like, if we're going to do this, why can't you calculate just what happens in the Strait of Hormuz? Why can't you calculate or understand what insurance companies are going to do in response?
TCG Teddy says, quite the opposite. Charlie Kirk never said that. Do you have any facts to back that up? Let me know. Thank you for having me here.
To that. Like, we have been caught off guard every single step of the way. You're shaking your head, no.
I'm shaking my head.
Why? Tell me, explain to me, because
if there's any industry that
because now
Donald
we're paying,
Trump
now
would not have a very comprehensive and competent understanding of within his administration. I mean, what was the whole, Donald Trump is a sucker for the oil industry. Oh my God, he's got so many oil executives in there.
But first of all, the Strait of Hormuz.
Shekel 2356 says Charlie was a paid up shilling ideologue. Was he? Let me know if you have any data to back that statement up. Thank you, buddy.
Did say that he didn't expect them to close the Strait.
Not only that, cutting off their nose to spite their face.
I'm just telling you what he said.
Up and depose.
He did say that.
True, Tater Gang. True.
But the Strait of Hormuz, it delivers 25% of the world's oil. And right now, oil prices in the country, in the United States of America, are up 50%. Like, we're not actually out here saying that Donald Trump is some magical genius. What we're saying is that he failed. Like, they failed.
I want to go back to what we were speaking about earlier because I wanted to ask you, well, what's your alternative? And both of you seem that a deal is...
Make sure y'all like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We're going live every single day of 2026, and become a member if you want.
Tangible. And I really want to ask you,
I got my
do you think there's good faith negotiation?
Mama X Studio says, silly Dems. Yep.
With the Islamic Republic of Iran?
Absolutely not. I have a deal. I know what we're going to do.
Let's hear it.
The JCPOA. We did it already. Can we go to commercial? Like, there's no...
Okay, so I guess allegedly Chili Willy 6283 is a bot because he's saying the same thing. But if you guys spam the chat and say the same thing, it kind of ruins it for everybody. So I might need to tell the mod to put you on mute, or, you know, don't want to do the other thing.
I'm like they were further away.
Our American soldiers throughout the region didn't stop them from building ballistic missiles.
Yeah, I feel like that's a symptom
our
of the bigger
European
problem.
NATO ally.
We have more problem.
We have no allies left. Did you,
Barry? Let me know what the moderator says, buddy. Thanks.
See the Italian Prime Minister today?
We have NATO treaty allies.
Did you see the Italian Prime Minister basically tell you that you're full of BS?
Talk about NATO.
Prime Minister Meloni.
One second. And then, not only that, but you actually asked our allies to help you in the Strait of Hormuz.
Charlie Kirk was not racist.
Booze, and you know what they told you?
Yeah, shy guy. Charlie Kirk is the truth. Absolutely.
Ask them to look out for their
they would
own
rather be comfortable for 10 more years than
Nobody
actually
wants
bet
to
on
be
their
comfortable
future.
with Iran. What people want is competency and
They have
consistency.
suicidal
We got cord by rum. Y'all are worried about oil when they're threatening our lives. What the truck is wrong with your... What's going on? They're threatening your lives. Where are you from? What city are you in? What are you doing? What are you talking about? Who's threatening your lives? Hopefully no one's threatening you, buddy. True. Wacky Head. Very valid statement. Wacky Head says, how about a rebuttal instead of just calling the Democrats names? Make a case. Oh, man. I love it. Very, very good statement. Very good statement. And we're going live every day of 2026. So make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. And where are you? All right, let's see why these experts remain pessimistic.
Do you think there's likely to be a second round of talks in Pakistan anytime soon? And are you optimistic about what may come out of them?
Anderson, I would never say I'm optimistic on anything regarding the Iran file. I am hearing from people in the region that the sense is we're winding our way to another round of talks, to a diplomatic path. And we'll see. That is definitely the sense that's out there. There's a lot of diplomatic work.
All right, we got Coy by Rum saying arrangement threatening the United States for 47 years. And James Reed saying Iran threatens us.
Behind the scenes from mediators, the Chinese are leaning on the Iranians, I'm told. Who knows what's really happening? But I think we are likely to see a second round of talks. But I'm watching two indicators, and I think, separate the signal from the noise and what's being said from day to day. Number one is the ceasefire holding. Right now, yes, I think that's very good. Number two is this blockade of shipping from Iranian ports. Is that working? CENTCOM is very confident that it is. Some of the ship tracker data suggests some are squirting through. We'll have to see. But then the third thing, is Iran going to contest that or not? So right now they're not. But if they do, then we're back into a conflict phase. So let me just kind of back up, Anderson. Right now, it looks like the diplomatic path is getting some traction. The ceasefire is holding. That's good. And all eyes still in the Strait of Hormuz. Is the U.S. blockade working, keeping that traffic away from the Iranian ports? That's going to really bite the Iranians.
And the second part of that mission, though, for CENTCOM is to open the international passage to the Strait to give confidence to shippers to pass through, and that still seems to be not happening. So
someone was asking me, like, how do you remember the name Hormuz? Moose. I don't know. I don't know what that means. What does Hormuz even mean? Hormuz definition. Oops. Son of a. That's what you get for being an amateur. My goodness. Where did this thing go?
pass through, and that still seems to be not happening. So I'm keeping an eye on that. Keep an eye on the Strait of Hormuz. Is a ceasefire holding, and do we have this second round of talks before the ceasefire expires next week?
Ambassador Sherman, I mean, given your expertise in this, you've actually, led these negotiations and that took years of planning and more than
Tater Gang says, I served, and I think this is a C-Rock of S-Hit.
15 months of actual negotiations. What do you make of the status of these negotiations? I'm not sure if that's the right word, or talks about having talks.
So it's good that when the vice president went with Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner the first time, he actually brought experts with him. You cannot do this kind of a deal without a team of very seasoned people with a lot of deep expertise, because even if you decide on one element, then you have to figure out how you implement it. Then you have to figure out how you verify it and monitor it and make sure it happens.
All right, so the real meaning of Hormuz is place of dates, or the Greek word hormos, meaning cove or bay. Might be coming from the Greek word, because it's kind of like a cove, right?
And if you're trying to do, as the vice president said, a grand bargain, it means you have all of these elements on the table. They fight against each other. It could be that Iran would say, we'll give Hezbollah a little less money, but we want to only suspend enrichment for 2 years. So it all combines. And one of the things I think is quite critical if they go back to the negotiating table, and I hope they do, but not for just 20 hours. It's going to take days, weeks, probably months to get it all done if it's possible.
Oh my gosh. Swamp Wizard FY 162 says 1987 USS Stark hit by Exocet missiles by Iraq. America forgave Saddam because he was fighting a proxy war against Iran using chemical weapons supplied by NATO. If that's accurate, then that means that this thing has been going on for quite some time, and we haven't really become aware of it, or maybe some people are aware of it. Thank you so much for jumping in on the chat. It's incredible.
Well, I hope that they realize that nothing should be agreed until everything is agreed. It was the watchword of our negotiation, and it was critical to make sure that we had all of the T's crossed and all the I's dotted.
So just to be clear, nothing agreed until everything is agreed. So no point by point, okay, that's a deal on this subject and now we're going to do this, because it's a jigsaw puzzle that all has to fit together.
Absolutely. It's a jigsaw puzzle that has to all be put together. And one of the problems that I think the Trump administration has had is two things. One, they've wanted at the beginning for Iran to simply capitulate. That's why the president says we've won, we've beaten them, we don't want them to win. But quite frankly, in any negotiation, even with adversaries, even if you find people odious, they have to feel like they got something or you can't get the deal done. So call it winning, call it negotiating, call it giving them something. But there has to be a deal, and a deal means both sides have to get something out of it. And secondly, I think the president has believed he can get this done in one big fix, and that's not how this process works. I wish it did. The last 28 days of the 2015 negotiation, John Kerry spent 19 days in a hotel nonstop to get to the final elements of this deal.
Scott, are you optimistic at all? I mean, do you think this is going to lead somewhere?
I'm not very optimistic. I think there's two kind of core questions here. Who benefits from dragging the process out?
Time is on the side of Iranians.
It absolutely is on the side of the Iranians. And the second is which side can endure the most suffering and most pain. And I think clearly the Iranians have proven that as well. This idea that the blockade so ships can't come. I mean, this is a country that's been, had tens of thousands of bombs dropped on it in the last month. The idea that it's going to somehow, kneel down because of the naval blockade, I think is silly. I think
the idea that this is now an economic.
All right, so allegedly, USS Stark hit by Iraqi exocet missiles is true. In 1987, during the Iran-Iraq War, an Iraqi aircraft fired 2 exocet missiles at the USS Stark. 37 U.S. sailors were killed. May their souls rest in peace. Iraq said it was a mistake, claiming the pilot thought it was an Iranian tanker. This part of the statement is accurate. America forgave Saddam. Partly true, but oversimplified. The U.S. did not go to war with Iraq. Iraq apologized, and the U.S. accepted the explanation. The U.S. continued its broader strategy in the region. And the part where you say fighting a proxy war against Iran, that's partly true. The U.S. leaned toward Iraq strategically because Iran was seen as a bigger threat after 1979 revolution. How are they a bigger threat, though? Just curious. Is it like because they have oil, or they're straight? Allegedly, using chemical weapons supplied by NATO is misleading or mostly false. Iraq did use chemical weapons, mustard gas, nerve agents. The U.S. and others knew about it during the war, but there is no solid evidence NATO directly supplied chemical weapons. Iraq produced many weapons domestically, obtained dual-use materials, chemicals, equipment from various countries, including Western firms, indirectly. Yeah, so they obtained dual-use materials from Western firms indirectly. So that's a possibility. Definitely a possibility.
Potentially economic pain being inflicted on Iran. We've inflicted military pain on them. That hasn't really worked to cow them or have a regime change that actually results in something. You don't think economic pain is going to do anything?
The economy was already in a shambles. That's what led to the demonstrations and the killings in January. I think that the regime. I think if you go back and I think it's important to look at what happened in January. That the regime, there was demonstrations against the regime for 10 days that were largely peaceful. They were metastasizing in size. Finally, the government reached a point where it thought it was going to go down, so they killed 30 to 40,000 people in one weekend. They see their back against the wall, and as Mr. Chairman said, they need to feel like they're getting some.
Thank you, Seb Applejack. I love you, buddy. You're the best.
Something out of any.
Saddam was never forgiven. What TF was WMD? Good question, buddy. Good question. I have no idea.
You sort of negotiated settlement, and they don't have much to give because they could be overthrown by the people, and they don't. They'd be slaughtered.
Yeah, Brett. I mean, this is not a popular government, and obviously there is support there, but there's 93 million people. There's a lot of people with a lot of different opinions. Is this a government that's motivated to really make some sort of a deal? Or what would be their major motivation?
I have to say, I largely agree with the thrust of what Scott's saying. I also we have to have some humility. We really don't know what's happening inside Iran. And if we were on this 2 weeks ago, Anderson, and someone had said, we are going to see a ceasefire and then the highest level talks between Iran and the United States since the 1979 revolution, with Ghalibaf meeting face to face with the vice president and with the IRGC there and the entire team from Iran there, I would have said that's highly unlikely to happen, because I did not think the first move of whoever rises to the leadership ranks in Tehran after this conflict would reach out to the great Satan. The one thing that, going back to Khomeini, they said you cannot do. They really just shattered a taboo. So it's fairly extraordinary that that happened and that these talks are still ongoing. So I don't know. I agree. It'll take time.
Do you read that as a sign of potential desperation, or we don't know?
So you could read it two ways. You could say they feel so strong that they're coming to, show that we have the strength, and we're finally going to meet with you face to face at the most senior level. We've never done it before. Or they're in some trouble, Anderson, and they actually they know it. And we are offering significant sanctions relief, as I understand it, which is something they want, and they can do a violent crackdown, but they also want to, I think, alleviate some of the economic strain in their population. Yeah. So we have some cards to play.
Ambassador, if memory serves me correct, and correct me if I'm wrong, one of the criticisms of President Trump initially against the deal that you were intricately, brought about in 2015 was the money's paid, money that Iran got out of it. It sounds like any deal we make now, there's going to be a lot of money involved as well.
There's going to be a lot of money involved, and there's even been some discussion that there would be money that would be given in advance as sort of a sweetener to get a deal done. I think both Brett and Scott are correct. There is economic pain for sure.
That dude 1700 says looks peaceful.
In Iran, but the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, is clearly in charge right now. Yes, they want to make sure that there is a future for their country.
Peter N5K3I says Rumsfeld supplied Saddam with chemical weapons in 1981 against Iran.
But I do think they feel that this is existential for them. They lived through the Iran-Iraq war for 8 years being just hammered, and they stuck with it. They are a culture of resistance. I think they may come to the table, but they're not going to give up the things that they believe are part of their national pride, and that includes, in their view, a right to enrich, in their view, to have a missile program, in their view, to have people in the region, their proxies, help them out. Whether we scale that back, whether we get to a place where we feel there's greater security about their commitment to not having a nuclear weapon, all of those things are important, but it's going to be tough negotiating, and the UAE is in.
All right, so as far as that question, Saddam was never forgiven. What TF was WMD? He wasn't forgiven in a permanent sense. U.S. policy just changed over time in the 1980s. Iraq was seen as the lesser threat compared to Iran, so the U.S. avoided escalating even after the USS Stark incident. But after Saddam invaded Kuwait, he became a direct adversary. WMD refers to weapons of mass destruction like chemical, biological, or nuclear. Saddam did have and use chemical weapons in the 80s, but the 2003 war was based on claims he still had them, which turned out to be largely incorrect.
China trying to get China to put pressure on Iran. I'm sure that's happening. The President of the United States is headed to China in May. There's a lot of incentive for him to get this to a better place.
Pride has a seat at the table. Ambassador Sherman, thank you. Brett McGurk, Scott Anderson as well.
Yeah, bro. Thank you so much. EW.
Joining me right now.
And James Reedy saying this is the best chat yet. Absolutely. We're going live every day at 2026. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications and become a member if you want.
And senior military analyst, retired Admiral James Stavridis, thank you so much for being here. Focusing in on this blockade that is set to set in, according to U.S. Central Command, at 10 a.m. Eastern. If this happens, what is a blockade going to look like in reality, Admiral? And practically, what is going to be required of the U.S.?
Breach is saying lefties are completely clueless about world events. Everything is N-word and I-word to them.
U.S. Navy to pull it off?
Well, let's start with a little bit of confusion over what the intent is here. What we heard from President Trump initially was a full and complete blockade.
Oh, James Reed has just entered the inner circle. Thank you, brother. You're the best. I love you. The Lord loves you.
A shutdown, if you will, of the Strait of Hormuz. What has now developed and what we're hearing from Central Command, Admiral Brad Cooper, the commander, is more nuanced and I think the right answer, which is to blockade the Iranian ports. That's an important distinction. So let's assume it's the latter.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, James Reed. James Reed is all in. So just so y'all know, we got James Reed in the chat. All right.
How do you do that? You need 1 or 2 aircraft carriers in the region to put up air cover. You need a dozen surface combatants, Kate, so cruisers, frigates, destroyers, to actually station themselves off the Iranian ports. You need a couple of dozen small, fast patrol craft. The Emirates and the Saudis have these kind of craft, corvettes, patrol boats. And then you're going to need land-based air to maintain air superiority. So this will be a huge and resource-intensive effort. And I'll close with this. The good news is, having now pounded the Iranians militarily, this goes after their economy, but it does it in a way that doesn't blow up the entire oil infrastructure. So let's see how the blockade unfolds. But it's going to be resource intensive and
Yo, Clark94 says TDS is no joke. You cannot change their minds. You never know, man. Don't give up hope. Don't give up hope, you know. There's always hope and faith, man. Always hope. Thank you for the chat, man.
Could be very risky.
Play something that Democratic Senator Mark Warner said about this and the question on the connection between imposing a blockade and the broader objective of the United States to get the Strait of Hormuz fully reopened. Let me play this.
But I don't understand how blockading the strait is going to somehow push the Iranians into opening it. I don't get the connection there. You're going to see these energy prices continue at record levels, not for weeks, but months and years. And how blockading the strait gets it open suddenly, I don't get that logic.
What do you think of that?
I think that is a very common response across the country, is just head scratching. How does this work? And this gets back, Kate, to where we started the conversation. It's the distinction between simply shutting down the strait completely, which is what I think Senator Warner is responding to, and the more nuanced closure of the Iranian ports, because these are two different tasks. Blockading Iran will, in fact, hurt their economy deeply. They depend on oil coming out of those ports. The second task is to open the strait for everybody else. That's where I think this has landed in the cold light of a Monday morning. So watch for U.S.
Oh, my God. Oh, man, this is hilarious. James Reed says, I've never heard someone talk to themselves in a chat. And then Barry says, oh, you will hear, James. You will.
Navy and hopefully European minesweepers to go into that strait next. Clear.
Blue Jeans 365. I love you, brother. Great chat. Totally dig the live stream. Thank you, man. Happy to have you here, man. You're always welcome. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, turn on those notifications, and become a member if you want. Blue Jeans 365 is amazing. Thank you, brother.
It for everybody else while we blockade the Iranian ports. I think that is what the administration is intending here.
Does it effectively do what they are intending, which would be cripple the Iranian economy? Do you think a blockade like this can completely stop Iranians from getting their oil out, or is there are there cracks in the system?
Of course, there will be cracks in the system. Think back to our own history, Kate. American Civil War. The North blockaded the South.
Yo, Clark 94. All caps, no glasses on. TDS.
Out. Thousands of miles of coastline, took hundreds and hundreds of U.S. Navy ships. Plan Anaconda, named for the snake that constricts its opponent. What the administration aims to do is to accomplish that, but it could take time. It took 3 years plus in the American Civil War to really bring that Confederate economy to its knees. That's the hope here. And last thought, we should recognize Iran will continue to have options here. They can put more mines in the strait. They can use terrorism globally. They can use cyber attacks, perhaps aided by the Russians. They still have cards to play, and the one that worries me the most, they could go after the Gulf Arab states' oil infrastructure using short-range ballistic missiles and terror. So this staring contest between Tehran and Washington is about to come to a culmination. We'll see who blinks.
Joining me now is Colonel Cedric Layton to help us understand this morning's developments. So, Colonel, can you explain to our viewers how a blockade like this...
MCB62 says, Connie says, hey, from the UK. How you doing? Happy to have you here. Thank you so much for being here.
...would actually work, and what are the ramifications of that move?
Yeah, Manu, good morning to you. One of the things that you have to look out for is, of course, the geography of the place that we're looking at here, and that's the Strait of Hormuz in this case. So theoretically, from a geographical stand...
Yo, Clark says, and I'm headed to work. Clark, I don't know if you can say that W word around certain parties. Hope you have an amazing day, brother. Amazing day.
This is going to be easier to do than, let's say, Venezuela or Cuba. But there's a lot of traffic that is supposed to go through the Strait of Hormuz, on average 135 ships a day before the war. So there's a lot that has to be controlled here. And so what the blockade would probably look like is that the U.S. forces would principally be focused in the southern approaches, basically from the Gulf of Oman and the Arabian Sea into the Strait of Hormuz, that 21-mile wide gap that we're seeing right there. And the other part of it, the northern part, may very well be controlled by...
Reggie Durano has joined the chat. He says, who blinks? Taco Trump will. What do you mean by that statement? Please explain yourself. Thank you for joining in on the chat.
The Emirati and Saudi and other Gulf Arab states. So what they would have to do is they'd have to work together. Now, the president of the United States has not said anything about the Saudis or the Emiratis or the Bahrainis or anybody else getting involved in this. So that's, that would make it easier if they did. But let's assume for a second that the U.S. was the sole country to do this. You would have to have basically a fleet of destroyers out there, coupled with at least one, preferably two aircraft carriers that could maintain maritime surveillance over the area. And
we got to have a celebration taco party after Trump does something amazing. That'll be amazing. Just a group chat taco party.
And then what they're trying to do is they're trying to prevent any ships that paid Iranian tolls from getting through the Strait of Hormuz. So if that's the case, that could set us up for a conflict not only between Iran and the United States, which is already happening, but also potentially with other countries such as China, which have paid tolls that allow their ships to go through. So it's an area where we have to be very careful what happens next. But that's basically what this blockade would look like. Yeah. On the surface, it's simple. In fact, it's going to be really complicated.
Yeah, and I wonder, could this
We got to do this, Bear. We got to do this.
Backfire in any way, Colonel? This move, because
yeah, Waffle Jackson. Taco party when it's over, for sure, man.
U.S., of course, needs the Strait of Hormuz open as well. I mean, couldn't this blockade backfire on the U.S. in any way?
It could. For example, the Iranians could decide to put more mines in the Strait of Hormuz, and that would complicate any mine clearing operations, which, according to President Trump, have already begun. So you've got mine clearing operations that could be complicated by extra mines. There could be attacks by small vessels, such as the dhows, the which is basically the native ships in the Persian Gulf area, and also the other small boats and fast boats that the Iranians still have. So in spite of their navy being basically decimated, you would have the capability, the Iranians would have the capability of putting a stop to traffic using smaller craft and asymmetric attacks such as mines and other efforts such as even missiles from shore-based batteries.
Colonel, is Iran...
David H6818 has joined the chat and says, grab him by the taco. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We're going live every day at 2026. And become a member if you want. And yeah, we're building an amazing community over here.
I'm really susceptible to this kind of economic pressure from the United States.
Make sure y'all bring the hot sauce because Barry likes his tacos spicy as FK.
It depends. To some extent, yes, because 90% of their oil pre-war goes through the Strait of Hormuz and through the Kharg Island terminals. So if you combine the blockade with, let's say,
how you doing, Shane Walker? Good to have you here, brother. We love Australia.
An attack on Kharg Island and an occupation, even a temporary occupation of Kharg Island, that would have a major impact on the Iranians, no question about it. So they are susceptible to this, but there are also other ways for the Iranians to circumvent this. They have a Caspian Sea connection with Russia, for example, so they could use the Caspian Sea for trade between Iran and Russia. It would minimize a lot of what they're able to do through the Strait of Hormuz currently, but it would allow them to at least have a...
Awesome, Shane Walker. We got Waffle Jackson entering the chat saying it's only birria tacos because Trump is the GOAT. That's right.
Lifeline, and that would not be controllable by the U.S. in any meaningful way. It also impacts...
Barry says, don't worry about the hot sauce. He's got some that will introduce you to the sun.
The Gulf states, the Arab Gulf states, and they will be clamoring for a resolution to this issue.
With us now is retired...
Mark Rizal 750 says, how long do you stay on the air live doing this? We're going live every single day of 2026, and we just do it for as long as we can entertain people and as long as it's fun. And sometimes we go 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hours. Just depends on situation and how much breaking news we got to cover and all those types of things. Happy to have you here, Mark Roselle. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. Going live every day of 2026 and become a member if you want.
General Wesley Clark, he's the former NATO Supreme Allied Commander. So,
Yo Clark says, I should be helping T-Daddy. You are, bro. You're helping with having a job and being an upright citizen. Hopefully you are an upright citizen.
the strait is already effectively closed. Is this blockade likely to either get Iran back to the negotiating table, force to reopen the strait, or does Iran have the leverage here? How are you seeing this?
Well, I see this blockade is helping the United States by giving us leverage. We're blockading not only the strait, but all the Iranian coastline. So you may recall that
Mr. Fresh Edition says, for all you armchair generals advocating war, I suggest you enlist into the Marines or encourage your children to do so. Well, hopefully none of that needs to happen. Hopefully we can find peace and communicate like adults and try to negotiate and make deals and not let greed overcome all of us, you know. And too many innocent people lose their houses, their friends, their lives, their cities. It's not good. So hopefully we can find peace. That's the goal.
last week a couple of Chinese ships docked in Iran, not through the strait, but along the Arabian Sea, and they delivered rocket fuel, or the what's required as a component of the rocket fuel, to Iran. We didn't stop that apparently, but we'll stop it from here on. And so this cuts off their ability to do trade. They can't come out of the strait or use other ports along the Iranian coastline. So it definitely gives us leverage. It's difficult, takes a lot of ships, a lot of attention, but I'm sure we're going to be able to do it.
Yeah, tell us a little bit more about that. What's needed here? The military.
MCB62 says greed will do it all the time. Man, I wish you were wrong, but unfortunately, you are not wrong. Yeah, man.
Military assets. What would go into?
Shilhan Omar jumping in on the chat saying, Mr. Fresh, Meanwhile, the IRGC drafts 12-year-olds to fight at IRGC checkpoints. Not cool. Not cool.
To create in a blockade like this?
The question is, how close can you get to the Iranian coast? And
a Sayasen says, who are you to interfere in other countries? Absolutely. Yeah, valid point.
And then how much do you need to seize or secure these vessels if they're trying to run the blockade? So we'll take, let's say, 8 to 10 destroyers or frigates, spread them along the coastline. We'll have a couple of carrier task.
Happy to have you here, Mark. Thank you, buddy.
Forces behind that, deeper away from the Iranian coastline. We'll have aircraft overhead. We'll be observing. We'll also have satellite coverage. We'll see the ships. We'll know who they are. And the ones that are not affected, not going and working with Iran, no problem. If they're going into the port, coming out of the port, or destined to go through the Strait of Hormuz for Iranian ports or come out from those ports, they will be stopped and seized according to Central Command. So it is a big military commitment. It's both carrier task forces, but that's what they're trained to do.
What about the risk here for the service members?
There's no R&R for the people that are out there. I mean, this is an extended deployment, so they're going to be out there for a long time. Now, we have to be aware that Iran has area.
Okay, so let's see. Allegedly, we have.
And the U.S. naval blockade now in full effect is squeezing Iran's economy and ramping up pressure on Tehran to set aside nuclear ambitions. We're going to see how this goes. Welcome to a brand new hour of America's Newsroom. I'm Dana Perino.
Morning to you. That was a rockin' hour. Got another one right now. I'm Bill Hemmer. Good morning. Gunboat diplomacy enforcing the blockade on ships in and out of Iranian ports. Several oil tankers crossing the strait today. And now we're hearing high-level talks could resume within days amid signs of possible progress. However, we do not know that just yet. That has not been confirmed. Now, after the first round of talks ended without a deal, the Vice President, J.D. Vance, leading those negotiations, had this update with Brett last night in a special report.
We need to see the Straits of Hormuz fully open. And this is frankly one of the things where the Iranians tried to move the goalposts during the negotiation. We made very clear that that's unacceptable. We came to the negotiations saying the United States, what we've given here is a ceasefire. We've stopped bombing the country. What we expect the Iranians to give up is a full reopening of the Straits of Hormuz.
All right.
Fried Frequencies has joined the chat. How you doing, buddy?
Matt Finn now brings us up today, starting a new hour. He's live from Dubai, Persian Gulf. And Matt, hello again to you.
Good morning, Bill. Day 2 of the American blockade. And so far, no reports of any major incidents or confrontations out on the Persian Gulf behind me. Fox's Lauren Simonetti reports that a Chinese-owned ship carrying oil and chemicals passed much earlier today after first trying yesterday. And Kepler reports 3 other oil tankers reportedly crossed today. One had a Panama flag, one had a Guyana flag, and one had a Cook's Island flag. Now, this tracks with what the president and CENTCOM have been saying, that the entire Persian Gulf is not blocked. Rather, the U.S. is preventing ships from entering or exiting Iranian ports. Now, an Iranian military spokesperson has been warning of retaliation, writing, if the security of Iranian ports is threatened, no port in the Gulf or the Sea of Oman will be safe. Now, the latest report from the International Energy Agency says continued attacks on the energy infrastructure here in the Middle East and ongoing restrictions to tanker movements throughout the Strait of Hormuz has led to the largest fuel disruption in history. Now, initially, the deepest cuts in oil came from the Middle East, heavily impacting jet fuel. But if things remain as is here in the Middle East, scarcity and higher prices in places like the United States are expected to persist. Dana, Bill.
Explain this to me. How are the prices going up if we have more oil than Russia and Saudi Arabia? What's going on? When are the oil prices going to go down?
Got it, Matt. Thanks. Matt Finn, live in Dubai. Thank you, Dana.
We have more on this with Brent Sadler. He's a retired Navy captain and senior fellow at the Heritage Foundation. Take us.
Not Decided 420 has joined the chat. 158 pound a liter in the UK. Has that gone up or is it going down?
there in your mind as the president, as I just give you this a little bit from Mark Thiessen in his Washington Post column today, says Trump flips the script in the Strait of Hormuz. The ceasefire gave the president an opening. He's used it to turn Iran's strategy back on itself. So if you were to place yourself there in your imagination, what do you think that those captains are waiting for? I mean, it's possible, as we showed, there could be ships that are stopped and boarded, and then what
Thank you for your service, Mark.
happens?
Yeah, great to be back on your show. It's a great question. I think it's safe to assume that several
Thank you, Marmouth.
steps in this chess game has been thought out, and the
Let's see when Trump says this war is going to end.
I had to divert, because if I didn't do that, right now you would have Iran with a nuclear weapon. And if they had a nuclear weapon, you would be calling everybody over there, sir. And you don't want to do that.
Well, you would be calling everybody over there, sir, and you don't want to do that, lady.
You keep saying was. Is this war over?
I think it's close to over, yeah. I mean, I view it as very close to over.
Y'all, we're getting tacos soon. The war is just about over. Just about over.
You know what? If I pulled up stakes right now, it would take them 20 years to rebuild that country. And we're not finished. We'll see what happens. I think they want to make a deal very badly. I had to divert.
It ends when it ends. It's war. There isn't a timeline. Michael Porter has joined the chat.
pieces have already been put in place. I mean, the ceasefire, as tenuous as it is,
John Lindsay says, I work at a gas station, and it is going up.
As it is,
I think he's referring to the gas prices.
Allowed for a rearming, a rest, and a recoup, and also a refocus of those naval and air operations to basically...
Ireland farmers, truck drivers are protesting by blocking motorways because of the fuel.
Enforce this new blockade. And most importantly, you saw literally as the negotiations were breaking down over the weekend, naval vessels opening up a mine clear route, a so-called Q route.
Who's that, sir? What do you think of that? My point is, if you prove it's not mined, you have the ability to transit that route.
All right, we got a reading from Jason Torrix. John 11:25-26. Jesus tells Martha, I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live even though they die, and whoever lives by believing in me will never die. Very, very awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Again, it comes back to confidence, and just the more ships pass through there, then basically the truth will be told to the lie that there's so many mines and so much military threat from the Iranians that it's not worth going through. And you're starting to see that confidence come up. As far as the Iranians mining the Straits of Hormuz, they on their own admission said that they did about a dozen or so mines in international waters. Again, this is against international law, violates the Geneva and Hague Conventions, so war crime that they just admitted to. But again, sending the mine clearance and clearing out a route is what has apparently been done, not the entirety of the Strait of Hormuz, but at least that route. And that's at a minimum all that's needed to get the ships through.
Okay, let's talk to you a little bit more about going forward. I guess there could be possible talks, but in the meantime, Vice President Vance spoke about what they learned from the Iranians over the weekend.
I do think that we acquired some knowledge about how the Iranians are negotiating, and this is ultimately why we left Pakistan, because what we figured out is that they were unable, I think the team that was there was unable to cut a deal, and they had to go back to Tehran. I really think the ball is in the Iranian court because we put a lot on the table.
And so now, is it return serve?
No, I think the Iranians were trying to do a repeat of like 2015 and previous negotiations, thinking that for domestic political reasons, the United States needed this deal more than they did. And I think, again, this regime in Tehran has very sorely misjudged the Trump administration. If it's any party that needs this deal, it's the Iranians, and they are in an extremely weak position on the negotiations.
If you start doing a deep dive on Christian beliefs about the end time,
trying to quickly come back to the negotiation, perhaps in Pakistan, and we'll see. But the clear thing is the pressure needs to be sustained. At the same time, the U.S. is not the side that has to acquiesce or make any concessions. It is the Iranians that, quite frankly, have to do that.
Brent Sadler, thanks for coming on. Appreciate your time, sir.
Thank you.
Another day, as we say. Thanks. Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News
and Islamic beliefs about the end times. I'm gonna show you some things that are A, gonna blow your mind, and B, gonna send a chill down your spine. In Islamic eschatology, there will be an end times messianic figure that's called the Mahdi that usher in the end of the world and paradise in Islam. Now, I'm gonna bullet point for you what Muslims believe the Mahdi will do. If you are a Bible-aware Christian, you're gonna have a whole bunch of like flashing red lights in your head going, whoa, 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 that sounds familiar.
That's right, Craig, that's right.
In Islamic eschatology, the Mahdi will emerge as a charismatic messianic world leader during global chaos. He will take control of the world and destroy everyone who resists him. He will invade many nations. He will rule and reign for 7 years. He will broker a 7-year peace treaty with the Jews. He will conquer Israel and massacre the Jews. He will establish an Islamic one-world government headquartered in Jerusalem. He will establish Islam as the only acceptable religion. He will come on a white horse. Hello. With supernatural power doing signs and wonders. He will be assisted by a powerful prophet. Now listen, if any of
do you guys know where this one's going? Have you guys seen this one?
that sounds familiar? It is a precise description of the Bible's Antichrist. Islam's Mahdi is the Christian Antichrist. Now, let me go one last layer deeper. If you view Ezekiel 38 as an eschatological prophecy, then what you're waiting for is that at the end, a bunch of nations in the world will gather against Israel.
Barry asks, who was the one that said they would subscribe if you let them be a moderator? I don't know. It was somebody who said that a little bit earlier. Forgot his name.
They will wage a multi-front war, and it's going to look like Israel is going to be destroyed, and that at that moment is the moment that Jesus Christ will return, war horse, tattoo on his thigh, fire in his eyes, sword out of his mouth, and he will destroy them and put down the enemies of God. Now, dude, here's what's insane. It's using the names for those nations in the time that Ezekiel was written. Gog and Magog corresponds to primarily Russia and Central Asia. Meshech and Tubal, that's Turkey. Persia is Iran. Cush is Sudan. Put is Libya. Gomer is Turkey. And Beth Togarmah is also Turkey. All but one of those today are Islamic nations. And guess what is the fastest growing religion in the only one of those nations that is not yet an Islamic nation? Russia. Islam.
Wow.
I'm just telling you, man, I don't know how to read these things without at least wondering if Islam, the rise of Islam, is ushering in the events of the biblically prescribed end times. Now listen, Christians should love Muslims. God loves all people, wants to save all people. They're Gentiles too that God wants to save. Christians should hate Islam. It is a demonic ideology. And
yeah, Barry, I'm not going to do that, man. If someone wants to be a moderator, that's not how they become a moderator.
Religion that destroys and enslaves the people that adhere to it.
Israel is just hitting indiscriminately, so anyone could be next. You can be living in your apartment in Lebanon. And
Elias Alawati says, I've studied this. Complete BS. Is that inaccurate? Is that completely inaccurate? We'd love to know what you're talking about, what your views are on that. Just found that very, very interesting. yeah, Barry. Barry says that's a crazy stipulation. I'm sure they do great. Wouldn't act crazy at all. No, not at all.
Underneath the pretense that a Hezbollah member is in your building can be struck down and you can...
Dude, way too much destruction. Just way too much destruction.
Die. And in Beirut especially, it's attacked very urban, very populated area.
Just so horrible. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, turn on those notifications. We're going live every day of 2026. And become a member if you want. We're trying to find the truth, find peace, and we're developing an amazing community.
Killing lots of people who were just walking in the street, minding their business at home, just doing groceries. And then it claimed that these were Hezbollah targets.
Terry says, anyone wearing a base pro shop hat should be taken with a grain of salt.
Which we're not. What we're seeing here effectively is just Israel trying to destroy whatever is remaining at the moment of a very fragile social fabric in Lebanon. People feel very vulnerable and very defenseless at the moment. It's like they want us to be on the verge of collapse. I think the aim is to cause civil strife internally, to put Lebanese against each other. People are very afraid because Israel has published yesterday a map of Lebanon that includes its entirety as a possible target. There are no more safe space. This is frankly something that can only be categorized as a terrorist attack. Israel is simply using intimidation and violence against civilians for some political and military aim that it has, pitting Lebanese against each other, and especially against Hezbollah, which for many is considered as the party that has brought Israel over Lebanon. So I think what Israel is wanting to achieve is creating that intense distrust internally so that it can further destabilize Lebanon and continue its aim, whatever it's doing in the south at the moment.
John Lindsay has joined the chat with just an ounce of sarcasm, saying, yeah, we see the love of God and religion right there in the video. Just makes you want to be a part of it, don't it? Thank you for jumping in on the chat. We're going live every day at 2026. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. Oh, did you stop? That's it? Okay. So
Israel is over Lebanon. So I think what Israel is wanting to achieve is creating that intense distrust internally so that it can further destabilize Lebanon and continue its aim, whatever it's doing in the south.
So Shilihan says that woman has no idea what's going on, and that could be correct. You know, you never know what is actually going on, and that's one thing that we're trying to figure out here. And we're always happy to take messages from people who are live on the scene, or you know, have boots on the ground or boots on the boats. And here's something that is just fascinating to me, and might help you kind of understand how these news networks are operating, because you think you know what's happening, but sometimes you just really don't know what's happening at all. And bear with the video. It might look a little weird at first, but it makes sense after a while. And if you're sensitive to anything, you don't have to worry about this. It's not anything bad. I wouldn't put anything bad up there. But this is kind of like a analogy of how news tries to always deceive you. So
look at this.
She says, look at this. It looks ugly.
Looks ugly. Even a little off. Your brain already judged it. It always does. Now look at it again.
So it's a wooden bird, right? That's exactly what it is. And if you see something only from one perspective, you only see like that shape, that thing. You don't actually get that whole 3D rendering of what's happening in the world, you know? And so that's kind of like when you're a super lib, super repub, whatever you call it, you see things only from the left, or you see things only from the right. It's good to get like perspective from everybody. Yeah, Barry. that was a part of your name or something.
It looks better. It's
but yeah,
meaningful. This didn't change. You're just looking at it from a different angle. And you do this all the time. With people, with situations, with your own life. You think someone is rude? Maybe they're just distracted. You think something is a failure? Maybe it's just not finished yet. Same situation, different angle. So if something doesn't feel right, maybe you're looking at it from one angle. Look again. See it differently. Because your first reaction, your first judgment is not really the truth. It's just your brain being fast.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just your brain being fast. You know, you gotta look at things differently. And absolutely. Shilihan says, I don't know, I think aloha snap. 72 goats. All right. Yeah, we need the goats. Don't hurt our goats. You know what we say about our goats. We love our goats. Yeah, guys. All right, so I just want to let you know, I have to restart the stream, but I love you. The Lord loves you. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications, become a member if you want. You get special perks and all those types of things. And then, yeah, we're gonna have to restart the stream. So make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications so you can be notified when we restart the stream. And we're going live every day at 2026. The Lord loves you. And if those haters are drinking a haterade, don't let it stick on you. Just let it roll off your back like water does off of a duck's back. All right.